Lusa Fuseni, who has currently said that, well, the road fund is in deficit, so to speak, as far as what it needs, and he says funds meant for road maintenance have been diverted and misapplied. And we're told that the former minister that's of roads, Alhaji Suleimani, Hamidu Suleimani, had also disclosed that 185 million Ghana cedi was the indebtedness as at 2013 to the current period that we're having in this very fiscal year, and that should be a concern for everybody who uses the road. Because we collect the funds.
It is certainly
to be put in a certain account.
It is certainly a concern.
How come that we have this, sir?
Yeah, it is certainly a concern, not just to everybody who uses the road, but even government as a whole. Wherever the monies that are collected meant for a purpose, that I divert to other purpose through corruption and mismanagement, it's a worry.
Not necessarily.
No, I'm coming. I want to establish a base. It's a worry. Once it belongs to the people of Ghana, it's collected for it has a purpose. Now, with regard to the road fund, I don't have much information on it, but what I know is that I was on TV with the president of the Road Contractors Association when an issue came about. I asked the issues of why most of the roads have not been completed, they've not been developed, and so on and so forth. And he came out that, look, the request for road funding is, the request for construction of road and maintenance far exceeds the amount of money that's raked into the road fund. And he even, for the first time that I heard from him, he said that government had no control over the road fund.
It doesn't?
Yeah, that was what he said. In fact, I was there with one colleague member of parliament from the MPP side, and he educated us on it. And for me, I was surprised too, because I know that there's a board that is supposed to do a lot of our policy with regard to the disbursement of the amount relating to the road construction, road fund, and so on. So if it is in arrears, it is so because the demand for maintenance and for construction far exceeds the amount of money.
Well, we don't understand that. But let me just read this to you. Perhaps maybe you've not apprised yourself of the current development. It says, well, managers of the fund were forced by administration of government to divert money into other projects that have not been captured by the law establishing the road fund because they're supposed to be used for specific purposes. The point too is the criticism of government misappropriating funds meant for statutory areas into other areas that have not been captured also comes into the fore, don't you think?
I don't think the government has misappropriated funds that government...
Not embezzled, though.
Not,
These are different things.
I know.
Because funding is meant for a certain purpose, but it's used for something else.
Yes, I don't
so
think... When you
I guess you've been a former... So in parliamentary, they call it misappropriation.
Yeah, but it's not... There's difference between misappropriation and
misapplication.
And government even failing to make... To pay into the required fund. It hasn't been used. When you listen to the Minister for Finance, when he came for the media review, a question was put out to him, why is it that the statutory funds are still in arrears? And his answer to it that with the way the economy is now, they are controlling expenditure so that it will not escalate the current economic situation. That does not mean that it does not mean that the amount has been misappropriated into other areas and so on. That is not corruption or diverted.
No, I'm not saying corruption. No, let me give you an example. Perhaps you're not getting me very well.
I got you.
Don't get fund. We're supposed to be having.
I got you very well.
We're supposed to be having monies that directly will go to the get fund.
Yes.
Do you know that they don't receive the allocation?
But they've started.
Let me give you another example. The National Health Insurance.
I know. You know, I'm a member. I've been a member. I know, and I know that even the formula comes to Parliament for us to determine every year before it is.
So it means you are defending the indefensible.
Not defending, get the point very clear. The clear point is that you talk of misappropriation. The misappropriation could be misdirected towards projects for which that
that's what I'm saying.
But what
misappropriation,
what I'm saying is this, my brother. There's difference between misappropriation and giving you the money for you to be deducted and paid into that fund that you haven't paid into it. Yet the money is sitting with you. You haven't used it. It's not misappropriation. You have not timeously pay the money as required by law into that fund.
Perhaps because you're not a government appointee, you don't
know. No, I know because it comes through Parliament. Issues have been raised as to why. It has even been raised through Parliament from the minors as to why the Minister for Finance has failed by law to deduct the amount that is required into those various statutory funds. And this was his explanation that I gave you earlier. The explanation is not that it has been diverted into taking projects for which the law that establishes that fund has not.
You are sure the money is there?
The money is there. The Minister for Finance even assured that. You're a news guy. I think you would have picked the issues there. He said
what I picked is at variance to what you're saying.
It wasn't at variance, and I think you can let your news people find out.
Eric, your response to these, and these have come up over the years. I believe the last couple of years, but government is always in a state of denial. The point is, funds that are meant for specific sectors and for which we have proper delineation of regulations for them need to be respected appropriately.
Well, I mean, I can appreciate why Timothy is struggling.
I haven't struggled.
And you see,
I've explained
the thing is that I think it's imperative that we all appreciate that in terms of some of these things, it's proper to be open and transparent. You see, looking at what the story actually says, it says that, and this is coming from two ministers, the former minister and then the present one.
Okay. The former minister raised the issue, and this one has been confirmed by the current.
Reinforced it that monies meant for specific projects linked to the road fund had not been used, but it's been used, right, for other projects, right, which were not captured initially. You understand? Now, you can call it whatever you want. I mean, it's all about semantics. If it's meant for one thing and it's moved and it's used for another thing, right, in any governance structure, it's inexcusable, right? And that goes back to the situation whereby we have a government that has consistently, right, mismanaged the economy to the point that in 2012, right, we actually ended up with a 12% deficit, right? And all the economic problems and then the economic issues that we are facing today stems from those things, right? So I think that you have to move away from the politics sometimes and then stop the propaganda with the economy.
Oh, I think that's unfair. That's unfair to
I mean, it's a general comment. Okay. It's a general comment, right?
It's not direct.
It's a general
being truthful.
No, it's a general comment. You see, so that we all get a buy-in and say that we're in a serious crisis, and we would sort of get everybody all hands on deck to make sure that the economy gets where I mean it has to get to. But you see, when they speak like that, right, then it gives an impression that government is showing a lack of goodwill. And that's why some of the problems that giving government faces from the TUC, for instance, and other...
But Eric, somebody will say that you are with the MPP, so it inures to your benefit.
No, it doesn't,
if you go on this very
tangent
and continuously criticize government excessively for some of these lapses.
I mean, it doesn't give me any value if I criticize government.
Well, you score political points.
No,
when you say we open the borders...
Can you let him make it?
I run a business. One, I'm a politician, but I run a business. I employ people. So I have people that have their livelihoods linked to how well my business does, isn't it? Now, so in any case, there's absolutely no reason for me to run down the economy, right? And then to the detriment of my business, for instance, right? But then it's clear that there are certain things happening today that has been, I'll say, it's happened because of the way government has run this economy, right? Now, government is always given an excuse that, one, the wage bill has increased, and that's the reason why we are where we are today. Forgetting to actually also say that, even as the wage bill has increased, right, the economy itself, in terms of our GDP and everything, and then even the base, the country has moved into a lower middle income country. So if you do the maths in terms of what we are actually expending in terms of wage bill, it's not that much, in as much as we have to drop it down to the 35% barrier that the ECOWAS and then other international organizations are saying. But the real problem is the fact that this government has, since it came into power from 2008 till now, has borrowed excessively to the point that the interest payments.
Eric, we've had this.
I know. Interest payments, right, that we are paying is actually the cause of some of the problems that we're having today. Because, one,
but government is taking steps to resolve them. For example, government has even taken a decision, a fiscal decision to go to.
Let me make my point.
Go to the IMF, for example.
The cedi has depreciated, which means that as we keep on borrowing, we still need more cedis to make up the interest that we are supposed to be paying. You understand? Now, if you tell government or you state categorically that maybe we have to check how much we're borrowing and the pace at which we are, and then the kind of projects that these monies are actually going into, governments become overly defensive. And the president will actually come out and say that we'll borrow. You know, so this whole
Ethiopia
syndrome.
You know, for example, Eric, Eric, let me draw your attention to this. For example, there's just some few meters away from this very studio is a whole interchange that has been constructed at Kwame Nkrumah Circle. We had to borrow money, I believe 180 something million, is it euros or dollars to do that? I mean, so would you say, well, some of these projects are not essential and not needed, or because we feel that as a country we're in a certain difficult state, it is not appropriate?
I don't want to get into the politics of that particular.
Okay, then let's.
But it comes to priority, right? Now you have a corridor, a major corridor.
Circle interchange is not important.
Let me make my point. Let me make my point. Accra to Kumasi and beyond, right? And we have all these other landlocked countries around us that actually use our routes. And government actually makes revenue out of that. Government has consistently given one excuse after the other not to basically finish that road. You understand? Now, if government goes to look for a loan, right, what do you think that government should be looking for that loan to do? To make sure that the routes that actually sort of is one of the major economic routes in this country, if not the most important one, right? Rather than focusing on a circle interchange in the city, where we have places where our cocoa, timber, everything that we actually extract and export
it is
brings
an
in more
interesting
money.
point you
so
made.
For me, sometimes then I get the impression that
so you're talking about priorities.
Either we are not thinking properly, either we don't really know what the priorities are, or some of these loans, and that's why people always have this impression that there's probably something fishy going on. Because if
you're a politician, you think there's something.
No, because it doesn't make.
Or you are just recapturing.
It makes absolutely.
Or you are just re-echoing the observations.
No, it makes absolutely
without any evidence.
It makes absolutely no sense to me.
Okay, your point has been made. Now, Timo, if you have to respond to this, for example, even the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry has come out with a statement as of Thursday saying that something needs to be done about the economy. Because there's spiraling cost of production and declining business confidence.
Yeah, you know, I like the question you asked him that just across the road, we have the interchange that is being constructed. He linked it with the Kumasi road and even went...
Because I think the two of them are all economically viable.
You see, he's a politician and he's a businessman. And
you are also.
Yeah, he knows. If you are going for business, you're going for a particular loan to execute a project. It's different from when you're going for another business. The loan that was secured for the interchange is completely different from what we are using
my point was that we could have focused...
Kumasi route, you understand? And then these donors know where they are interested, and it's in tandem with our policies within the local setup here. We cannot go and compel a donor that you want to start a new project or you want to start a new. We have an old project, we want you to continue. They look at the terms and look at how favorable.
But donors should see that which one is more economically viable than the other.
Yeah, and these are the terms. Secondly, you talked about us being in the lower middle income group. It's true, because of the benefits that we were getting when we were not in the lower income group had also vanished. For instance, we used to get donor support, concessional loans, grants, and so on. It has dwindled down the line. We have to, there's no other way apart from going to the capital market to borrow at exorbitant rates and then come and do development projects that are viable and that are.
You think that's a good argument?
Yeah,
that's a very lame excuse somebody will say.
No, it's not. My brother, what do you do? The only thing we can do is to generate local, internally generated revenue to support what our donor, you know, through your news items, through your coverage, that about 40% of our budget is funded by our development partners. And I've often said that Ghana is not an island. Ghana doesn't stand alone. Our economic development is invariably tied to our development, our partners, and so on. So sometimes our colleagues, like he was talking about, you don't know whether they are blind, they are being appreciative of what we are doing, and so on. I agree. No one in Ghana.
You think they don't want to acknowledge the truth, the reality?
Like you mentioned, look, there are a lot of.
But let me ask you, if you were president, and you were in another party, your party comes to power, you have a project that's supposed to be completed. Which one would you do? Would you go and take another loan for another project, or complete the old one?
If the old projects were on a loan or a
no, it was not.
A source. It
was a GOG component that was
fine. If it is on a GOG component, you continue with that. Then it now behoves on you to look at the priority, to look at how you are going to finish that using your GOG with a complex system of implementing a single salary spine that is taking over 60% of your internally generated revenue, paying public debt. For which even the previous regime contracted, and you are paying part of it.
No, but then
someone who asks now, who costs them?
No one costs them.
Timothy, you came into government.
Government is continuing.
The debt to GDP ratio at the time, and even in absolute figures, was 8 billion.
Yeah.
As we stand now, in 6 years,
we
are 32 billion.
Yeah, we can account for it.
So I mean,
no one in government has said that we are not having challenges like the AGI is saying, or industries are moving perfectly.
And also the
right.
Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Are saying, no one. We haven't said that the president admitted in his first statement to the people of this country through Parliament that the meat is down to the bone. It's self-explanatory. The meat is simply the revenue we need to ensure the machinery for running the economy are lubricated. Look, let's make a comparative analysis. Look at the whole Eurozone. They experienced 13 months of flat growth in industry, in manufacturing industry.
And so?
I am coming. These are places that we go for our support. Brazil has recently gone into recession. This is where Brazil is also supporting us. South Africa is in recession now. Almost the whole global economy, including the IMF prediction. IMF said that the global outlook has reduced from 3.7 to 3.4, meaning that when the year started, they were expecting that the global economy would have expanded to a quantum of 3.7. But looking at the global,
these are good excuses.
No, but you're
just putting good variables together.
What can you, brother?
Timothy,
even if you bring Obama here, if you bring all the economists in the world here and come and put them in Ghana, are they going to turn stones into money? They would only put up policies that are resilient, that will be able to withstand the fronts.
Well, that's why we went to the IMF.
Yes, I'm coming. That will be able to withstand the fronts and smiles of the economy. Just a minute. Because of the challenges that we were having, we went to Senchi. Didn't we go to Senchi? When we were going to Senchi, the MPP said they were not going because what we were going to discuss there. I'm coming. No. I'm making a point. I'm not condemning.
Please wrap up in 2 minutes.
Just in 2 minutes. They said they were not going because all what we were going to discuss there, they had already said it over and over again. Is that not true? What it means is that all the economists, including their economists, the Alpha and Omega in their party, Dr. Baumia, has said all what the Senchi conference also. If it is the truth, if it is the truth, I agree with them. But it also means that they are also bereft. They've ended their thinking on the economy. That is the meaning. Do you get the point?
That's your interpretation.
No, but if they say, no, listen, if you are coming to me, and they say, don't come to me. I've already discussed all what you are coming to discuss with me on the phone with you. Don't come to me. What it means is that I already know everything, the alpha and omega of the problem you are coming. It means I'm even bereft of the points you want to suggest.
I'm saying that's your interpretation of the action.
It is fair to do that because as at now they've not told us any other way we want to move forward apart from the consensus. And for which they agree, they were not.